Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally does not work. So this is crazy town. It's crazy time for the Dallas Cowboys because we keep hearing all these different trade scenarios. You know, the Cowboys, we're still hearing about Dak Prescott and TJ Watt's trade. Never mind that there's $140 million in dead money that the Cowboys would have to do to get rid of Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott right now, if you know Dak Prescott's career, every time he's had a major injury, when he's come back for it, he's thrown 36 or 37 TD passes and been on fire. So this would be the year to actually go in and try and support that if past history is a barometer. So we're sitting here at 12. Now, we could do almost anything. I'm going to still stick with my whole premise that if Gentry starts falling, and I think if he gets past the Raiders at 6, that the Cowboys might have some internal discussions about trading up. They've been not one to trade up after they got burned big time by the Morris Claiborne, a.k.a. the Glass Man, when they traded up their first and their second round pick to try and get him. He was thought to be the best defensive player in the draft, and it ended up being that he ended up having a wrist injury, and it just had a career that literally you need to put him in bubble wrap. So the Cowboys, typically, when they've been burned by something, they don't do it again. Even though the Eagles get burned all the time, but it doesn't stop them from doing anything. They traded up to get Carson Wentz and things, and, you know, they took that L and they turned it into lemonade. When we signed Greg Hardy, which was one of the biggest free agent signings we've had in the last 10 years, other than, like I said, we've only had 2. When we had Brandon Carr, they looked at that and said, you know, spending all that money on one guy, that's not us. And that's where they've changed what they do. They spread the wealth and so on. And now they're just beginning to get back into doing trades. You know, we got the Joe Milton trade as well as the 2 linebackers that we traded for now. So they're kind of getting back into doing that stuff. Now, here's an interesting one. We've heard all kinds of different scenarios. And at first when I saw this, I was like, it's not really enough. But this is what Brandon Laurie has proposed. He said, he is retweeted from NFL Draft Scout, and says that the Kansas City Chiefs are actively looking to trade up in round 1. Okay. Kansas City's sitting at number 31. You're sitting at 12. So we're talking about going up, let's see, 12, 22, 19 spots. That's a big move up. That is a huge move up. When we saw San Francisco moving from 12 to 3, it cost them 3 number ones and a third. Okay, so let's say Tat McMillan is gone. Okay, so Tat McMillan is gone, and Matthew Golden, we hear, has a little ankle thing, and that's why he wasn't quite as fast the other day. I hope that's not a sign that Matthew Golden's got issues. But Will Campbell and Armand Madabu is there at 12, okay? Now, from what I get told, and I'll talk to Brian about this more tonight, is that this draft from basically about 10 to 30 are all about similar type guys. So keep that in mind. So Kansas City calls you and says, hey, Jerry, we want a wheel and deal. We want your number 12 pick. And here's what we'll do. We'll give you, 32. They're 32. We'll give you our 32. Now, my first thought here was 32. You might as well say that's a second-round pick. But okay. We'll give you our 32, our first-round pick. We'll give you our second-round pick, which is 63. And you look at it and say, 63, that's almost a third-round pick, right? and we'll give you our fourth, which is 133. Well, at least we get our fourth back. So, and on top of that, you would get your 2026 first round pick, which more than likely will be a number that's in the high 20s, almost a second round pick. So what we're really saying here on this trade would be you're going to trade your pick and get really 2 seconds, right? And really a third and a fifth. Is that enough? Because you're going to get their 32nd this year, and whatever their pick is the following year at number one, which, again, knowing Kansas City, it's going to be high 20s. You might as well say those are 2 second-round picks. Their second-round pick is at the bottom of the second round, so it's really a third-round pick. And their fourth-round pick at 133 is really like a fifth round. Now, here's where it could work, because this is what first I was like, we're talking about getting seconds for a number one, but you're talking about two of them. What do? Would you do it? Now, I'm going to pose this question to Game Time as well, because now here's where you're thinking, okay, so what that means is we have a end of the round first round pick. We end up having our second, that's 12, and a second this year. We have a third, and we have a late fourth. So that gives you 5 picks in the first 133. That would give you 5 picks in the 133 picks. Now, if there are the running backs and the wide receivers like we're talking about, you can get your running back, your wide receiver. Maybe you end up getting an edge rusher, a DB, offensive lineman. This is an interesting proposal. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of saying that's moving way, way out of the first round. But then again, we traded back with San Francisco. And I can't remember how many spots. If it was 3 or 4. But we traded back and we got Travis Frederick, I think, at 31. And we ended up picking up a third-round pick, in which case we used that to get Terrence Williams. It worked out pretty good for us because we ended up with a great center. So, I don't know. This one gets interesting, to say the least. Alrighty, good people, as always, I appreciate you. Peace out.